that clip of Harrison Ford? He walked out some award show and they were playing the Indiana Jones theme song. He's like, that song follows me everywhere. It was playing when I went in for my colonoscopy. That's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about that song.
So, good morning. Anybody else have any thoughts about colonoscopies?
Yeah.
That's how we're gonna.
That's how we're starting today. You either like it or love it.
Thank you. May I have more? Hi guys. So I'm gonna be honest.
No,
I feel
it's not.
I feel a little bit like I ate and drank too much and rode on a scooter last night, and so it might take me a little bit to wake up, but I'm here.
We did do that.
And grateful.
What a better way to see a city, huh? I don't recommend it. And I also don't recommend trying to take a selfie video while riding said scooter and then making a sharp turn. Because if you ever try to ride those things, people, hey, don't ride those things, period. But
you have to post them.
if you happen to find yourself on one because you've lost a bet, which that's the only reason you should be on one, keep both hands on it.
Yeah.
I bailed.
What's the way? Y'all are here like the perfect way to take a selfie. Get your phone, get at eye level, put it a little bit lower, a little bit lower, a little bit lower, put it on the table, and don't take a selfie. Sorry. Hi, any first timers?
You had nothing better to do on a Sunday?
Well, March Madness was yesterday, so
That's right.
today is free, and the 500 isn't until the end of next month. So.
Elton already left.
Well, welcome.
Who left?
Elton. Elton John.
Elton left?
Elton John.
Elton John.
Wait, Elton John was here?
Elton John's playing tonight?
Where were we?
Friday night.
Elton John was.
He's backstage, you mean? Super nice. Giant glasses.
Was Dua Lipa here? Did they do Cold Heart?
I didn't go.
We were here.
Yeah, I was here.
Well, thank you for spending your weekend with us in our crazy, wacky, traveling circus of a show. It's good to be in Indy. I think this is the first time for me. Yeah, both the first time. So, yeah, it's good to see your faces, masked and all.
Shall we get some?
Let's take some questions.
That was a fast hand. Yeah. That was like Floyd Mayweather. No, right here. Thank you so much.
It was me, right?
It was you.
Okay, all right.
It is now.
I got the microphone, it's not leaving.
That's it.
Okay, I have a question I've been wanting to ask for years.
Okay.
So everybody knows y'all have a huge entourage when you go out on location and shoot. So you have your makeup artist and your lighting and all that. Well, how much of an entourage did Baby get when she went out on location to shoot? Because she needed to look good, she needed her, to waxed and buffed and all of those things.
She got Frank. That's it. There is we have and all productions have what's called a picture car wrangler.
Yeah.
And they are responsible for any picture cars. If there's more than one car, there's a few cars, usually they'll have maybe a few people helping out, moving the cars around, putting them in position. But yeah, it's just our Frank was the guy who took care of Baby the most throughout the series. And they, he'd load it onto the trailer. He'd drive the trailer to,
Have we ever
to
told
the
the story
set.
about
When when Baby decided to take him for a ride.
Have y'all heard the story ever?
So Frank was putting Baby back onto the truck, which was just around the side of the studio, and Baby didn't want to go into the trailer. She was like, "Not today, Frank.
Yeah.
That ravine looks fun. Let's go there."
So he was driving literally from the studio to a trailer, to a car hauler trailer,
Yeah.
and the accelerator stuck.
Oh
And so
when an accelerator sticks on a 502 big block Chevy,
so
you go fast.
he jumps a curb and drives through a field trying to slam on the brakes, trying to hit the pedal, but something happened in the carburetor, which is like flooding with fuel. Ends up in a ditch, and his collarbone breaks.
And the good news is like the shoulder strap worked and the airbags deployed. Oh no, no, there's none of that.
So we get a phone call about like, hey, the Impala just crashed. Like Frank just crashed the Impala. Like, what do you mean? It's like, well, there was an accident. We don't know what happened yet. And so
You and I ran over there.
Yeah, we went over, Cliffy and me and Ackles. And then I get there, and he's already there with the ambulance. And he's sitting there, and he's like, and you can see his collarbone. And so I go, and when I see him, I'm like, Frank, you all right, Ben? He's like, yeah, just, And the paramedic is kind of like attending to him. And I'm like, you're good? I talk to the paramedic, and I'm like, okay, nothing long-standing, like, just, like, that sucks. And the paramedic's like, yeah, he's fine, otherwise his vitals since then. And I go, okay, well, don't try and fix his face, it was already fucked up. And Frank, sorry for the language, but Frank starts laughing, he's like, and he's like, oh my gosh, that hurt so much to laugh, but that was worth it. So, yeah.
I feel like it was smooth. It was like, oh, Frank, your shoulder looks horrible. Don't worry about his face. It already looked like that. The paramedic is laughing. Yeah, but so luckily it was the majority of the damage was done to Frank's shoulder.
Yeah.
Baby took it on the chin like a champ. She was back up and running and doing fine like the next week. So
You can't mess that.
yeah, so that is Baby's entourage is generally just one picture car person who in this. And Frank didn't quit. He kept with it.
And to be fair, we all got Baby's back. You know what I mean? Like Frank is there for Baby, but we're all like, ain't no one messing with.
Yeah, everybody kind of keeps a nice little, gives a wide berth when they're dealing with the car. So she kind of commands respect when she gets on set. Yeah. All right. Yes, since you thought you were going to ask a question a minute ago. How you doing?
Well, hello, boys. How are you?
I like it. Hey, crowd.
Y'all had a lot of funny scenes. How were you able to keep a straight face? And what was the hardest that you laughed on a particular episode?
Well, in fairness, we weren't always able to keep a straight face.
It's the magic of editing.
There were many scenes that were ruined. My thoughts immediately go to Yellow Fever with the cat. Pretty much any Phil Screech episode, because he'd be like, the more crazy you can make it, the more wacky, the more we can all laugh, the better. And so I'm also laughing off camera during Eye of the Tiger, but I go to Yellow Fever because I was having a good time.
There's sometimes you can, if you look closely, you can see just a little bit of break. And there's one scene in particular that comes to mind when Bella is driving off, and Dean turns to Sam and goes, "Son of a bitch!" You can see Jared break, right? He just goes, and he looks away from the camera because, as an actor, that's what you do. If you're the camera and I'm breaking, I'm like, And they left that in there, and I every time I see that clip, I'm like, nah, that was Jared. I got him.
Over 15 years, we're bound to have some Jensen and Jared.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it just watch any, take your pick of any gag reel, and you'll see what really goes on when before the editors come into play.
Come and fix it.
Yeah. Thanks.
I'm gonna head to this side. I saw it looks like a blue and black shirt. Yes, you're doing a thing. You have a mask on. You're standing and walking.
So, speaking of Yellow Fever, when we were doing the viewing the other day, I came up with this question.
You're doing a viewing?
Yeah.
No shit. I know that.
So, we know that ghosts don't do salt very well. Do you guys think that if Dean ate like a bunch of salty food or like gargled with salt water like you do when you're sick, it might have actually slowed down the symptoms any?
Why didn't you think of that? it's 15 years to just like pour salt all over yourself. Yeah.
It's a really good idea.
Season 16. That's
Yeah, it's
life
like,
hack.
yeah, I could do like the hunter version of like tarred and feathered, but you like just stick stuff and then just coat yourself in salt. You know, it's like a hunter brine.
It would be wonderful because he's already so sweet.
Yeah,
If he had some salt, it would be.
balances the flavor.
Yeah. Next for note, we'll do that season 16.
Yeah.
Hunter Brine?
Hunter brine. I don't know. It's early. Leave me alone. Far back in the aisle there. Yep.
I was just wondering, when is Volume 3 of Radio Company coming out? And then also, what is each of your favorite songs from either of the albums right now?
I don't know, and don't ask me that. Come on.
I remember one time, season 1 of Supernatural, my brother and his now wife came up to visit, and we were both living at Sutton Place. And I think you hadn't been playing anything. But even way back when, and he kind of gave me a funny look, but I was like, hey, Jensen, this is my brother Jeff, and Jeff, this is my guess, brother Jensen. And I was like, Jensen, here's a guitar, like, sing and play, like, I want him to see. And Jensen was like, what? Like, man. So for years.
Dance, monkey, dance!
Yeah, I think he gave me a look like, this is the dance monkey thing? Like, I'd rather just. But I've been saying for many years, this is like me trying to take credit for your talent. I've been saying for a long time that you
Been doing that forever.
albums, and so yeah, what is?
Steve is actively working on tracking that now, and we've talked. It's already written, so we're in the process currently. How soon that happens, I don't know. And then I don't know, favorite. It's a hard one. I'll probably listen to quarter 2 right now, mostly. I know my kids like Cannonball the best. Yeah. That was kind of the first banger, as they say, that we came up with. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad choice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Me, I'm gonna go way over here, way back there. Yeah, as far right as possible. Yeah, with the fingers. You seem to have 10 of them.
Oh, thank you. You guys are obviously destined for greatness here, but in another life, in another world, if you guys were not actors, if you guys didn't do this, what would you guys be doing right now?
Good question. I mean, I kind of thought about this before and been asked something similar. My mom is a retired teacher, and I think she would say that the best part of teaching is learning. And so I'm kind of fascinated by curiosity and by learning from wherever I am. And so I think I would love to be a teacher.
I'm a teacher.
Are you really? No way, what do you teach?
But I'm actually a substitute teacher newly, and I love it. So, yeah.
Bennett Woods.
I work in a school.
Oh, no way. What's up, kiddo? Awesome. Yeah, so I feel like that would be a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
I honestly don't know. I know that there were ideas of what I thought I might do when I was younger. Obviously, that was a long time ago. All right. Take it easy. But I will say, whatever it would be, it would probably have to be something that was continually evolving. I don't think I would do well in a kind of a static job, sitting in an office or doing a similar thing each day. That's one thing that I love about what I do is every day I get to do something completely different. Either a new set or a working with a different actor, or saying, the lines are always different. So I truly enjoy a creative process with people. And I've often said there's like two kinds of people in this industry. There are artists and there are craftsmen, and I kind of fashion myself more as a craftsman. And so whatever I would be doing if I wasn't doing this, it would be crafting something, I would hope.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Barry. And hell, honestly, like, if we weren't actors, we might just go ahead and go hunt some demons to help you.
Be actual hunters, yes. All right, let's see, how about, yeah, put your hand up even higher. Yeah, that one, the red watch.
What?
Yes.
Oh, she does have a red. Son of a... What, is that a watch?
It's a COVID band, it's great, so you all have them.
Yeah, we all have them.
All right,
You were the mask.
I see what you did there.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Becky.
Hi, Becky.
This is my first convention, and first I just wanted to say that I am very honored, and I don't say this lightly, but I love you guys, and I love everyone else here because I feel
Amen.
very at home and very
Amen.
at peace with that.
Love you back.
Oh my God, this one is shaking.
Focus on the red watch.
Okay, so my question is, was it easier for you guys to perform an emotional or intense scene together because you've been working together for so long and you know kind of how to like feed off each other's emotions and kind of play off each other? Or was it harder because you've been working for so long together and you could like mess each other up easily? And could you please give examples?
Depends on the scene. I will say that it was absolutely 100% for me easier to be vulnerable with somebody I trusted and had reason to trust over 15 years. And so, there were scenes, obviously, and oftentimes, I don't know about during the finale, but oftentimes if there was an emotional scene, then we'd cut and we'd both shoot the shit and like laugh and tease and reset. Because if you enter a take or a scene and you're like for me, interesting scenes are where somebody goes from like being, seemingly perfectly happy to then breaking down or being funny. So if you enter a scene where you cry 3 pages into it and you're already like, well, so what happened today? And it's not like, who cares? And so we would do, it's like, this is weird, like a food tasting or a wine tasting, like you have like ginger ale or tonic water or something to reset your palate between tastings. And so for me, at least, I feel like for both of us to some degree, like we'd almost like reset each other's palate. Okay, we did this massive scene, but when you take two, Sam doesn't know his brother's about to say, hey, I'm dying, let me die. Just be here and listen. So if I enter take two, knowing that my brother's gonna die in my arms, it'd be a mess. And that was really difficult. But then there were some in seasons prior where you're like, all right, like we're kind of teasing each other and this and that. So for me, for sure, it's easier to act with somebody that you know has your back and will tell you like, hey, it was great. Don't forget that this line is a reference to that. Got it. And so like the best directors, the best actors and actresses you can work with, don't tell you how to do something. They just say like, hey, think about this. Like, got it. And so then you do it again, and it makes sense. So for me.
Yeah, completely agree. I think that because we have worked together for so long, that became an easier note to hit. Plus, he and I know what each other needs and what we respond to, what we require, kind of to get to a place of emotion. So even like off-camera work, I know where he's supposed to be, so I can even level it up a bit to give him something bigger to play off of, and he, vice versa. I will say that, you know, he and I learned that not only about each other, but about ourselves as well. Within these characters and within the show that lasted for so long, it gave us ample opportunity to be able to hone that skill, essentially. And I remember, I'll never forget, Heart was season 1, right?
Two. 217.
Was Heart? I thought that was 1, season 1.
I think it was 217.
Magical Google?
It was 2. Okay.
Just guessing.
Early in the series, there was a show called Heart, where Sam loses somebody he truly cares about. And it was a very emotional day for Jared because he had to play the emotion of Sam losing somebody that he truly cared about. And I remember that Jared was, you know, we were still young actors and still trying to figure out our skill set at that time. And he went into this, he opted for this tactic that some actors do, which is they think about something in their own life that truly makes them emotional. And I'll never forget, he thought about his dog Sadie dying. And then he opted to do this other tactic, which is staying in that for the duration of the filming. So when they yell cut, he goes and sits in the corner and just marinates in emotion. And I just was like, felt so horrible because he was a wreck for, you know, 6 hours, 7 hours, just emotionally, like I'm just watching this guy just being drained of emotion. And I think that was the last time you did that. You were like, I don't think I can do that again, or because it took a big toll on you. I saw it. Like you were emotionally distraught
for sure
for the rest of that day.
Yeah.
And you know, there's a famous line that Sir Laurence Olivier says to Dustin Hoffman in the movie Marathon Man, where Dustin, like, he's got to be out of breath, and so he like runs around the block several times, and he comes back, and Sir Laurence Olivier is like, you know, what are you doing? He's like, I'm trying to get out of breath. And he's like, use acting, dear boy. It's called acting. Try it. And so I think after being in it as long as Jared was that day, I think I'll try acting next time. But that's not to say that the emotion that he would tap into, or myself would tap into, wasn't real. I mean, you know, those moments are, you're tricking your body to thinking that something is really emotional, and your body is reacting the way it would react if something was real. And it's wild that your brain can do that, but it has the capability of doing it. So.
Yeah, and you during Supernatural, Jensen and I both were able to kind of like try out different methods. And go like, hey, maybe this will work. Hey, maybe that will work. And commit to it and do it, and then go like, well, that worked, but I don't think I need that. Like, I think I can kind of like find the Goldilocks principle. Of like, okay, I don't have to like listen to the saddest songs and stories I've ever heard to get sad. Like I can just kind of think about what Sam would be going through. Or I don't need to.
That's another thing too, is we got to know these characters so well, and we cared about them so deeply that we would get emotional just knowing that these characters are going through this. I mean, that, you know, the Dean's death scene was like, that was not acting. Like I genuinely was emotional about Dean saying goodbye to Sam. Like that got me as a fan of the show, like choked up. And I had to choke back the emotion and be like, calm it down, Jensen, you're gonna get too emotional, and Dean wouldn't be there right now. He's gotta, this is a slow burn. And so it was tough. I mean, I get a little emotional about talking about it right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Thanks for
Oh, God.
red shirt, right here. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm from Cincinnati, and and I've been on.
OH. There's a great feeling. I'm so sorry. There's a great feeling. So my buddy from Cleveland just got married, and I pulled an OH, and everybody completely was like, oh. But it's the same feeling as like when you're a kid and an 18-wheeler drives by, and you go like this, and you're like, yeah, I did it. Sorry.
Wait, rewind. What was that? What was that? Put me in.
When you're a kid and there's...
No, I know that. I'm talking about what just happened with...
Okay.
Ohioans?
Ohioans?
You just say OH?
It works.
Do it again. OH? Stop it. Do they teach you this in like grade school? What is this?
Yes.
Is this like an Aussie?
Oi, oi, oi!
That's what this is, isn't it? I didn't know we had that. Well, you have it, I don't.
T! XAS!
Texas! Ding! That's what they teach us. Well, that's cool. Sorry.
So, I'm from Cincinnati, and I've actually worked on a couple. I've worked on a couple of film productions that have gone through LA Productions.
Yep.
Mainly like one James Franco production
Oh, wow.
as crew. And I'm sure that you've had some memorable crew members over the years, and I'm just curious on one or two that have stuck to you throughout the years.
Wow.
What department?
Sound.
Sound?
No way.
Sound assist.
Yeah. Chris Lynn Jones.
Chris Lynn Jones, Don Pinchot, even going back to KB.
Christian Bailey. Yeah, KB.
Like that's like we spent so much time with our crew, and a lot of them stuck with us for a long time, if not the whole time. So we really got to know a crew like family.
Yeah, Robin and Kelly. We have a text thread with probably a dozen or a dozen and a half members, like Brad Creaser, like our camera ops. And so I think a big deal, and Ackles and I have talked about this many times, is, you know, we appear like the iceberg above the surface of the water. But there's so much underneath that goes into it, even from the moment it's written. You know, 2 months, 3 months before we ever see the script, and then all the camera operators and the grips and the gaffs and sound and the riggers. So we get to kind of go like, hey, look at us, we're ice. But he and I know deeply, having done 400 episodes of television or whatever we've done, that things.
Television, not just Supernatural.
No, come on, television, counting all the other shows we've done. But we, I feel like we stand here today not as Jared and Jensen who created Supernatural, but as just a little bit of ice above the water that you can see from a distance, that you can see on television. But we know deeply and intimately just how much it takes to push us above the surface. So like my sound guys right now, you know, Ben and Manny and the gang, they're right next to you, you know, holding the booms and you're joking around. So there are many, Dave Riopel, I still text with, who was our dolly grip.
Who I still call LD,
LD,
which stands for Large Dave. Because when he worked, and this is no joke, it's not because of something that came to Supernatural, on the X-Files, there was Dave, and then there was a smaller man named Dave. And so Kim Manners just nicknamed him Large Dave, started calling him LD. That nickname is now stuck with him.
Stuck for decades.
So yeah, there's a lot of crew that I still talk to today. You know, it's been
Trish and Frida,
going on 2 years now that they still check in. We all, you know, we spent a lot of time together. We've been
all the time.
We've spent birthdays together. We've spent anniversaries together. We've mourned deaths together. We've celebrated life together. We've been through divorces, marriages, just so much with those people. So they are truly family. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think I see people
walking, giving us the guys, you talk too much. That's what that we do. Well, listen, thanks for being here, you guys. Thanks for spending your Sunday with us. Jared promises to entertain you for the rest of the day. I'm going to go take a nap. See you.